I'll tell you what. Best coaching hire so far this offseason, Bruce Arians going to Arizona. Somebody was going to have to sign this guy. He was the hottest offseason commodity. He's been a part of 2 Super Bowl championship teams before. He was actually the
offensive coordinator of the Steelers.
The Steelers back a few years ago. He is actually who was the name I heard he was associated with? Oh, he coached with Bear Bryant years ago at Alabama.
See, I did not know that.
I actually didn't find that out until I read the bio yesterday, but he's actually a product of Bear Bryant. The
That
Bear
says
Bryant
something
coaching
about you.
tree.
Yeah, right.
So I actually think this is the best hire. So I'll rank the hires for you. I think it's Bruce Arians 1, Chip Kelly 2, and then maybe everybody else.
And then maybe everybody else.
And then maybe McCoy. I'll say McCoy in San Diego 3, and then the other 5 are just all horrible.
You just wasted my time with those.
The only thing that I do think is a good move was the other coaching hire, making Norv Turner the offensive coordinator in Cleveland. But to me, shouldn't they be more worried about a defensive coordinator because...
Arizona?
Yeah.
I mean, you go from Wizen Hunt to...
I mean...
I don't know. I mean...
Well, no, not in Arizona. I'm talking in Cleveland.
Oh,
you hire the Chudzinski guy who was the offensive coordinator out of Carolina.
Yes.
Then you bring in Norv Turner to be the offensive coordinator. So now pretty much you have 2 offensive coordinators running your team. Who is running your defense? Because you're going to need to play defense in the AFC North.
Do they bring Rob Ryan back?
You need to play
He's
defense in the AFC North. The AFC North, with teams like Baltimore, teams like Pittsburgh, and even Cincinnati's D had one of the best Ds the second half of the season.
Yes,
you
they did.
have to
Geno
play
Atkins.
defense in that division.
Yeah. Completely agree. I do.
Because they're going to stop you. They're going to hold Trent Richardson down. They're going to do what they need to do, and they're going to smack Brandon Weeden around.
I don't think Weeden makes it past this year, to be honest. That's terrible. But anyway, the Norv Turner thing as an offense coordinator in Cleveland would surprise me. I thought he would have went to at least a more high-profile spot, but maybe he's just trying to relax and be a little less high-profile. I don't know. I pictured Norv Turner going to Dallas or going to the Jets or, maybe even going to Carolina. There's a lot of different places he could have went. I'm surprised he went with Cleveland. I really am. But the Bruce Arians hire in Arizona, I'm a big fan of. They need to get a quarterback, though. I don't care who the hell you got as your head coach. If they don't have a quarterback, that team is still a Schitt's Creek without a paddle, pretty much. It's just not good for them. It's that simple, and there's no other way to explain it. Their O-line isn't that bad. Beanie Wells, if people weren't, only worried about playing the run against Arizona, probably could be a much better running back, and he can't stay healthy right now.
Yeah.
You have Fitzgerald on the outside. You have your first-round draft pick in Michael Floyd from last year. So you got you got a really, really good wide receiver and a guy with a lot of potential. They have a lot of pieces in place. They have a pretty damn good defense. So they have the things in place that you need. They just need a quarterback. So that is where, to me, the only real question remains when you look at this team is, what are they going to do at quarterback? Does Bruce Arians look at Kevin Kolb and say, we can do something with you? Skelton, Lindley, Joe Schmo from down the street that was, selling cars or this or that. Like, what? Who? You know what I mean? That's what they got to figure out. If you can figure out your quarterback situation, I think you're all right. Because I liked Ken Wizen as a head coach. I thought he was a pretty damn good head coach. But you bombed with finding a quarterback for your team. So you got fired. Now offense coordinator, by the way, in San Diego. Wizen Hunt got brought in to be the offense coordinator with, McCoy in San Diego. So while we're speaking on him. But yeah, so Bruce Arians got a job, which was the one guy we all sat here and said, if there's any guy that should get a job. But you pointed something out to me before that I just want to bring up really quick about the minority coaches.
Yeah.
I just
I'm
want you
glad
to.
you're bringing
I
that
just
up,
want
yeah,
you to
'cause I
mention
said
that
that
real
to you
quick
off
because
the
I mean
air.
we are running out of time, but I really would like to bring that up for a minute.
Well,
So
because I think it's significant. There were 8 coaching changes made this offseason, 2 of which were guys who were minorities that got fired, and Romeo Crennel and Lovie Smith. No minority hires in the NFL, though. Not one. 8 teams with vacancies, and not one hired a minority coach.
yeah,
That, to me, seems a little off, and I think people are going to have problems with it. Now, necessarily, were there great candidates out there, great minority candidates out there? Maybe not.
see, I like Lovey.
I like Lovey, too. And to be honest, Crennel, he'll probably go back and be a coordinator somewhere.
Yeah,
That's where
Or-
he was better off anyway.
yeah.
So
Oh,
I think
yeah,
he'll go
he
back
fit
to being
that
a
much
coordinator.
better.
But Lovie Smith, and I'm sure there are other guys waiting in the wings as well to come up and want to be a coach and want to be in that spot. And I know Perry Fuel has been talked about in different areas too from the Giants, but no minority hires. And I think you're going to hear more about this, and I think people are going to have problems with it.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, at least a small uproar. Maybe nothing crazy, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is turned into some type of situation. But I was surprised by that too, especially considering a guy like Lovie Smith was out there. Romeo Crennel, I didn't expect to get another head coaching job, but Lovie Smith not getting a head coaching job, specifically to me in either Chicago or in Philadelphia or in Buffalo. I thought both those teams are good fits for what Lovie Smith is good at. Let's be serious. Buffalo can score points. They can't stop anybody. Philadelphia could score points, but they couldn't stop anybody. And what did Lovie Smith do but help build that Bears defense into what it is? He is known for his defense. So what happened? The 500 coach from Syracuse sounded that great to you? The 4-year experienced head coach from Oregon sounded that amazing to you? Like, that's what you went with.
And
two
you look at
guys that
teams
never,
like Chicago, like Philly. Philly interviewed 13 people. Chicago interviewed 16 different candidates. I want to know how many of the 11, how many out of the 13 Philly interviewed and how many out of the 16 Chicago interviewed were minorities. How many of them were...
a minimum of 1.
Well, yeah, minimum of 1, but was it just 1?
I wouldn't.
I think that,
that's information that they probably wouldn't let you find out. Or, well, I'm sure you could if you
And listen,
digged and digged, but
it's not like minorities out there can't coach. They can, and they do pretty good at it, too. Look at what Tomlin's done in Pittsburgh, winning some championships. Look at Lovie Smith with the Bears. I mean, there are guys out there who are good coaches. It's not like Lovie Smith is just some bum.
yeah.
He's not. He's not just some guy. He's a guy who led a team to a Super Bowl.
With Rex Grossman at quarterback.
Exactly.
I think that deserves an extra pat on the back. I'm sorry. I really do. But, yeah, no, when you said that before, I'm like, you know what? That's a really good point to bring up because usually every year when there's a bunch of coach openings, you usually hear of at least one African-American coach getting an opportunity or one minority coach. It doesn't even have to be an African-American, even like a Juan Castillo. Not saying that after what he did with that Philly defense, I wouldn't interview him for a head coaching job because I wouldn't want that guy near my football team.
Yeah.
But that's a minority is a minority. I don't think it's specifically said like you have to interview an African American, you have to interview a Hispanic, you have to interview like
a minority.
It's just a minority, coaching.
And I'm surprised that not one coach out of the 8 that were hired wasn't a minority.
Yeah, but
you figure they're bringing guys from the CFL, they're bringing guys from college. Got to be some pretty qualified minorities out there as well.
You'd like to think so.